The imaginative art from Yoshitaka Amano. He is known for being the original Final Fantasy artist and the main logo designer. He worked on novels, animations and many other games as an illustrator and character designer. Today we're going to look at his artworks from Final Fantasy 6 and 9. Final Fantasy 6 is arguably one of the best in the franchise due to its believable themes and characters. The story starts off with Terra Bamford, a woman that possesses great magical powers and is mentally controlled by the Empire to capture Espers. During one of her missions, her slave ground got destroyed and she soon gets involved with the resistant organization known as the Returners. Even though we all know her for her green hair, in the original concept design she had blonde curly hair. Although this might be confusing at first, for Amano many of the characters contain blonde or white toned colors, irrespective of the final design. The spy of the resistant group is named Locke Cole, a treasure hunter that helps Terra escape from the Imperial soldiers and introduces her to his friend and ruler of the Sand Kingdom Figaro, Edgar. The trio soon meets up with the rest of the cast, such as Edgar's brother, Sabin, a monk whose only purpose is to train his skill, Cyan, a loyal knight of the Kingdom of Doma, and Celis, a former Imperial general that also contains massive magical powers. All of them will join the Returners that is led by Bannon, a straightforward man that tries to convince Terra to use her Esper powers for the right purpose, defeat Kefka. This court mage was the first experimental magic knight of the Empire. This led him to become proficient in the arts of magic, but also caused brain damage that created a maniacal monster that wants to ascend God himself. And therefore the team needs to travel to Kefka's tower to confront him, a tower that was made from the remains of the Imperial Empire and other locations. The art team tried to translate the works of Amano into in-game pixel art versions. That's also one of the reasons why the character sprites are different compared to the enemies. For today's standards, such approach is too much of brute forcing and likely unacceptable. Nonetheless, this doesn't take away that his designs are top-notch fantasy works. Most of the time he uses a bright facial skin color for the younger characters and more shadow emphasizes for the older ones. This is because the brighter something is, the younger it looks due to the masking of imperfections in the face. Furthermore, he loves to use floaty body poses, which goes well together with his loosely drawn line art. Sometimes he intensifies certain shapes to indicate shadow and form. Most of his character designs have long legs, dark eyes and lips. Many pieces look like rough sketches, as you can see his line art overlapping the other areas. These curvy lines are also a bit toned, as they are placed prior to coloring. Without doubt, he likes to play with contrast. Some art pieces are quite dark, others seem to have a monochrome palette, but there's still a clear composition. That said, some of his work do miss his contrast, making his designs busy and unfocused. Love his art or hate it, however you look at it, his work is instantly recognizable. These are some works from Tetsuya Nomura, which he drew during the development before he was chosen as the main character designer for Final Fantasy VII. He did some additional artwork for the characters and even some chibi designs. Moreover, he worked on Mons and Balls art, such as the Goddess and the Tower of Gods. I think this design is well integrated into the game and has influences of existing works, for example the top part, based on Michelangelo's Pieta. Furthermore, he created some of the Esper designs as well. Final Fantasy IX is a main title that tried to get back to its medieval roots. The story follows Zidane, a laid-back friendly thief who contains a dark past. He starts off as a member of the Tantalus Theater Troupe, a group of thieves that pretend to be performers. They set out to kidnap the Prince of Alexandria, Garnet, to bring her to a city known as Lindblum. Zidane has layered blonde hair tied into a short ponytail, blue eyes and a monkey-like tail. Despite the kidnapping, she always wanted to leave Alexandria, as her mother, Queen Braun, was acting irrational due to an unknown cause. As the adventure progresses, Garnet and Zidane's goals start to merge, while they slowly grow closer to each other. Like most of the art, the characters start out with blonde hair. Especially this design of Garnet reminds me of Celis. Later on, however, he changed her hair gradually into a more darker tone which constructed the Garnet we know. Even though Zidane has one of the toughest interpersonal struggles in the game due to his existence being a simple replacement of a failure, Vivi is a close second. This black mage knows he was manufactured and gets confronted on multiple occasions. His design naturally flows into his gentle personality, making him memorable and relatable. Steiner is the guardian of the princess. He's suited in a classic knight armor and has an iron face. Kuja is the main antagonist and is quite the opposite of Zidane in design and personality. Both are destined to be rulers of Terra and were created by Gardant. His goal was to assimilate the world of Gaia to revive his own. Most of the cast are a bit different than the standard human characters in the main title roster, making Final Fantasy IX the most versatile in the series as of yet. What I like about the artwork compared to the previous main character design titles is that Amano expanded the character coloring style from his usual trope. To me, he really leveled up since Nomura took the main spot. Also, in his prior works, he seldom cared about the technical aspects of the light sources. In his more recent works, he put more emphasis on it. Many Japanese art masters still use traditional media. Amano uses an ink pen and acrylic paint for a large portion of his works. And like a real artist, he names most of his works as well. These are some of his other paintings. This is from Front Mission, a mega strategy game series where you can customize your machines with all types of parts. And his iconic Gatchaman works, a science ninja squad that initiated series such as the Power Rangers. I'm fantasy light novel author GP currently looking into the works of Metal Gear, from Yoji Shinkawa, an artist that makes his sketches come alive. And be sure to check out my books on my Amazon page and subscribe to my channel for regular in-depth styles of manga artists of our favorite video games.